as we head into game number 1. Again, the final 6 rounds before we find out which 12 teams will make it through. We're heading over to Bermuda once more, and for fans out there, you can rest assured that this flight path is very, very generous, straight down the middle.
Absolutely, and of course it's going to be fair and easy. EWC Esports though, they are the group stage leaders with 154 points at the very top. Everybody thought it was going to be core memory sticking it at the very top, but of course beating them with those 4 points, and Rasya definitely faced it with a huge smile on his face. A majority of the eliminations pulled away by the Wonder Kid, and this was that fair flight path that we were talking about. Peak totally conquered by Buriram alone, and Dragon splitting up very early in the game. I don't feel good about this.
You know what I don't feel good about as well, AJ? VP and Red Hawks. They both just dropped in the same spot, and we see very early gunfights, and this is gonna be very bad for Red Hawks if they don't make out of this alive. Ideally, if you can somehow beat VP, that would be great. We've seen Red Hawks pull off miracle in the earlier rounds in day 1, but that's a day 1 thing, right? That's the thing, that's the unknown. But right now, I think VP have studied Red Hawks. They need to somehow make this work.
And of course, if the Bangladeshi players want to stand a chance here, they have to play the reversal here however possible. Plasma gun in the hands of Flicker. Shot up from up top. Great rotation by Fuwara. Has got the AUG in hand. Great range on that gun, and Flicker does not want to challenge him. But now all the players all together down on the ground. Fuwara with his head sticking out. This is danger zone, but he's managing the situation well.
Yeah. With very limited resources to work with, these movements are a lot more important. So Red Hawks go into a 3-1 split. They leave Flicker on the flank. Same as Virtus.pro, who have the same idea. So if whoever can catch the flanker first is going to come out on top. We see Diamond already going on the hunt. VP changing from 3-1 to a 2-2 split. Kutut will make first contact. Good damage being dealt. Fuwara getting down by Blade. And now Red Hawks spring into action. Nameless also goes down. A trade comes from the side of Diamond, but VP are losing numbers.
Beautifully played. That revival comes through in the nick of time by Diamond. And he's going to get sprayed down. What a save coming on through. X-Force is there with the double vectors as well. Great rate of fire. Damage not too much. But Red Hawks has got this in their pockets. 3 players taken out of the equation already. 1 more playing his chances up against 2. The M590 and the MP5. Exposing Riptide Rhythm to break down their defenses, but that's just asking for trouble early. Kutush finds the knock. And Virtus.pro off on the back foot, and Red Hawks picking up a very, very, very important win here at the start of this game.
Feels like deja vu from game number 1. Blade drops back in just in time to loot the rewards, the bounty that the rest of his teammates have laid out on the floor alongside the corpses of the Virtus.pro players. And I gotta say, Nurjat saved that fight because the rest of his teammates were down and Nurjat clutched it. Thankfully for VP, someone was revived. The run continues for the Polar Bears, but it's not gonna get any easier. Same can be said for Vision System because Lost has them in the crosshairs.
Yeah, Vision System needs a miracle to qualify for Point Rush today, but they go up against one of the most dangerous teams out there in Brazil, and I dare say in the competition. But they are mowing them down. Unbelievable stuff. Rigby 245. Final player in here, round 1 picked up right quickly. And Vision System could not go in for the final blow, but they still outnumber the players of Lost. Only for the next few seconds. Rigby has got enough money to buy back his 2 other team members. But Vision System, timing is key here. And the guy that just got picked up mowed them down instantaneously. Lost with the instant recovery. M590 ain't enough for you, boy. Rigby with the MP40 should be able to make quick work of Andres.
And suddenly, in a blink of an eye, Vision System Andres is forced to run away. He does have enough coins to get a revive. Ring around Rosie. Can he do this fast enough before they clear him out around the corner? And there is just not enough time. Vision System, they fall in the hands of Lost, and off-screen, Virtus.pro gets wiped out.
Man had enough time to buy back the whole world. But a misclick for sure. Not even a single revival, and Vision System out. They were already at the very bottom of the leaderboard. I guess that is exactly where they will stay. Unfortunate for them, but what a start, and holy hell, what a recovery from Lost.
Recovery from Lost and Red Hawks, right? Both teams were at the back foot in their respective 4v4s, and both of them recovered. This is the start we expected from Lost, but this is a start we wanted for Red Hawks.
Oh yeah.
That difference, that contrast is what's going to make this a lot more interesting with how Red Hawks are rotating right now at Shipyard, but south of them, it's going to be Team Falcons and Movie Star R7. That is going to be a challenge.
Ami Tomake Balobashi, Bangladesh. This is exactly what we need out of the squad. But here comes another deadly predator up in the air. Falcons, they want to fight. Question is, does Red Hawks have enough in their arsenal to shut them down? Dragons, on the other hand, up against Buriram earlier on. And it looks like it was deadly snipes all around for Moshi, knocking down player after player after player, picking up those crucial points for Buriram.
Thank goodness Dragon Esports are still in this. I'm not really sure about the state of Red Hawks though. Falcons, they are very aggressive. You're not ready, they're going to tear you apart and into pieces. It's going to be the case for the side of Red Hawks. Kutush also goes down and suddenly Red Hawks have been sliced in half. But Movie Star R7, they hear the gunshots, they are here to fight the Falcons.
Well, two can play at that game, says Movie Star R7. They want to be the movie stars here as well. One deadly predator out of the skies. Joker, BSK in hand. Great range for the gun, but fails to find any connection on those shots. They've got the players of Falcons flanked already. Peter, unfortunately for him, does not find any tags under the player up top, but here comes SWAT, and he is the clutch king of R7. Will he get the shot in? Games King, M590 in hand. Unfortunately, it is their own player that gets knocked down to the ground, and Falcon standing their ground.
Kororo just now broke his ankles, but they brought him back up. See the rotation from Della. Star player from yesterday, Joker, finally pulls the trigger, and that's on fire down. Games King actually got Peter as well. Two members of Falcons down, but they need the confirmation, and they get it. Kororo now hightails out of there. Hides behind the building. It's him and Limit, and a lot of members of Movie Star R7 that they need to surgically cut through, but this is not going to be easy.
Limit has got the right guns here, the VSK and the AWM in hand. He just needs the right opportunity, but he's also waiting for the rest of his team members to back away so that they can play that game of revival. He's buying the squad more time, and as he stays hidden, it looks like Movie Star R7 is not detect him in this situation. Opportunity to get those snipes as the players are up in the air. Can Limit hit it?
They do see Limit now. Finally spotted out 1v1 Limit with a flick and 2 shots in a row. Of course, Limit is the one that wins that one now. A free point for Team Falcons, number 5. But that is going to call to attention the rest of Movie Star R7 to kind of to come and tie up loose ends. Limit now will be surrounded. Games Kings is going to be player number 2 to make contact right around the corner. Limit finds it now on the Joker, but it's just not enough. Movie Star R7 finds their 4th point, but Team Falcons have bought enough time for Kororo to make a run.
That's a masterclass in distraction. That's a masterclass in buying your squad more time. But of course, Kororo, as he gets away, I believe he flew straight into the crosshairs of Red Hawks, so we'll have to wait and see if or not Falcons can stay alive a little bit longer. It looks like the jump pad has been invested in as Kororo finds a good exit out of there. Flicker does not get that shot, and Falcons will live to tell the tale a little bit longer here. Time and time again, we've seen this out of Falcons, almost wiped out at the start of the game, and they just make that huge comeback with the booyah at the end.
Yeah. And just to add on to that, that was exactly what happened on their very first game on day number 1 and the 3rd game. So history could repeat itself. If you want to take out any sort of opponents, you got to cut off the head of the snake. In this case, the head of the Falcons. As Dragons Esports make their rotation, runs into a wild Kutush who just got revived and now will have to be revived again.
Yeah, man, Dragon off to a decent start here. First elimination, squad on that full revival. Thankfully, Seamox was left standing and he could bring the rest of the team members back in here. But RRQ, very stealthy, very quiet, picking up the most needed weapons. You see a double AWM setup in their hands here at Bermuda. It is going to be absolutely deadly, especially in the open grounds later on as this circle comes into a close, dragging all of the players towards the area of either Bhima Sakti or Clock Tower in a bit.
And RQ is a team that even they have said in an interview, always second, never first. In this case, for the side of AG.AL, they've also have tasted that. But R7, they're fighting back, 2 down the side of AG.AL. Not willing to let this go. He has a lot of memories, past memories on the international stage, and this is going to be one that he refuses to leave in regret. The rest of AG.AL gets back up. Movistar R7's forced to run.
Oh, what a damn backup that was, due with the instantaneous shot as he whipped out that AC-80. And now Chinoy on the chase here. AC-80 in his hands. That Oscar, that Valiant Dash was just used. So he doesn't really have an option for a last-ditch effort for the defense, but thankfully, AG.AL does not want to stand by and play around with him. Hex has an opportunity to go for a revival, but the man's absolutely broke now.
Not just broke, he also does not have any medkits to work with. The blue is going to be the one that takes him out if this continues, so he's desperate to find any sort of resource, any sort of coins. It's going to be a race against time. As lost, they actually picked up a member from Team Falcons earlier on. Falcons now down to 2. Enough points inside of on fire. Peter gets brought back once more. Falcons still trying to recover.
Yeah, on the back foot here for Falcons. But, you know, it really matters not Lost and Falcons, both at the very top of the leaderboard. I think they can sleep the whole day and still qualify for Point Rush here. So this is just a warm-up game at the end of the day for these two squads. Phenomenal performance on their day one. On fire, take it away. Nando 9. Car from afar. Accurate shots, not wasting those splits at all.
So Peter is actually in the middle of the circle. Falcons basically forced into just pure survival mode. It's no longer about fighting for points. It's about fighting to live long enough. Kunto, you surely see this, right? Karoro now has to fight Valiant Dash being used. Sudden Barros had to ruin that 1v1.
Aye, what was that? Valiant Dash did not find the connection with the glue walls. Tried to use him like a Tatsuya. Put himself in danger by turning his back onto his opponent. Easy knockdown. AG.AL though, in shooting distance. Karoro's going to be in a lot of trouble. Has the M590. Using it to break down the glue wall, but Payne is going to be keeping AG.AL a tad bit distracted here. And View takes that high ground position. He wants to flank around with those snipes. Question is, can the rest of them squeeze themselves in? Because this circle is starting to hurt.
Yeah. Double reparator being used early on. Barros trying to provide support fire alongside Dew. As Motovia slowly falls behind, but unfortunately for the rest of Payne, they might have to force a contact as Peter gets dropped down into incredibly low. No enough as well. They do manage to heal back up, but still not finding any opening against AG.AL. Barros now jumps into the time turner. Cypher actually loses his fight, and now they're gonna play footsies, but no one does it better than Nodas. AG.AL ends up losing 2, and now Peter trying to fight. Taste that, Chinoy. 3 down for AG.AL, and Payne survives.
And AG.AL, one final survivor here, potentially straight into the hands of Dragons. R7 Della taken out of the equation. All thanks to Peter. And Movistar R7 out of the race in the 10th spot. Spain makes their way up towards that high ground. Dragons remaining silent, not wanting to play a little bit of a misstep here. Either way, when they play that rotation, they have to come across either Payne or put it up, and that's going to be most definitely painful for the Dragons.
I just got to say that Red Hawks are single-handedly contributing to the revival stats in the game. They have so much revives, but it's good for them, right? Still in the game, but the window is definitely closing as we now turn our attention to Dragons Esports finally making their way towards where the war zone is. Payne Gaming and Laws now fighting. RRQ also part of this conversation. Dude's getting a knock onto Rigby, but Rescue will be here. Rigby should be fine.
Playing with the elevation, smartly done here by Lost. And that recovery is going to be instantaneous as well. They do tank a little bit of damage from the blue. That's not going to be too much, but they cannot shrug off. Problem is going to be still Peter here, looking for the gatekeep. And I do agree with you, man. Red Hawks, what a performance on the revival so far. We have asked for them to get into that final circle. That's exactly what they're trying for. Now get high, going rampage with the grenade launcher. M79 in hand, taking away 1 life. Adam down as well. Nejat has got the big guns in hand. Grenade launcher in the hands of Red Hawks is going to give them a huge advantage here.
The Red Hawks did lose Flicker thanks to RRQ, who decided to join in as party number 4. The BRU are the biggest winners out of this all. Most players can't even get to them where they are. Get high somehow, getting Blade as Noki wants to steal it but could not do so. Blade falls, Red Hawks down to just 2, and Onyx will have to find a way out of this because Buriram have guarded all the main entrance.
And Dragons finding Nejat as well. Unfortunate for Red Hawks, but Payne Gaming makes the exit first. in the 8th spot. Red Hawks with their final survivor left in here looking for the next zone and has found it already. Question is still going to be, does Kadush has enough? Because you get revived with those 2 blue walls and the P90. I believe that's all he has. Riptide Rhythm breaking down the defenses of Peter and the backstab. Loss is still in it as Falcons will falter in 7th.
Good shot from AL to stop Haone. And now Lost have to make a decision. Do you abandon him or do you bring him out? There's no saving Pride Haone in this game. AL takes him out. Red Hawks eliminated in 6th place. RRQ finally showing their presence. Rigby has all his glue being melted. RRQ just sprays them down. Tastes lead in this. And Nando Knight cannot survive. Unfortunately for Lost, this is where it ends.
Yep, they lost that one up against the Indonesians who are desperate for a booyah for themselves. But the surprising ones are the team from EMEA. Dragons Esports, 7 eliminations strong, looking for that final circle in the top 3. This is what we need. This is the kind of improvement we wanted out of Red Hawks, but we'll have to wait for the rest of the game from the day. For the time being, it's the silence play, and Dragons will find the circle, but they also find Buriram running out there.
And Buriram will take initiative. Actually, a decent trade at the very start, but Dragons quickly overwhelmed as Dus decides that he also wants a piece of the pie. Maybe RRQ's intervention will be enough for the Indonesians to start the day out with the Booyah. Kiba ends up going down, Get High, still around, but it's him and Moshi. Can they pull this off? A 2v3, Moshi in the red and Get High desperately trying to hang on. They just cannot pull it off. Abai brings RRQ to a Booyah in game 1.
RRQ with their very first Booyah here at EWC 25. And you cannot ask for anything better. They start the day off from the 12th spot. And obviously, they're going to be getting those points. One of the best Indonesian squads. Some may argue the best, of course. They could not get to the championship this time on FFWSC because Onyx snuck that one away. But they're most definitely going to hit the big numbers here.
Some people forget that RRQ placed 2nd in